What's up, everybody? It's the Warrior of Hype here, and yeah, the official Yoshitaka Amano limited edition collector's art that's going to be on the big box that comes in that collector's edition. That art has been kind of fully realized by Dengeki Online. They shared the image from that pop-up store for the 35th anniversary, and just like any Yoshitaka Amano art, there's probably going to be some story spoilers if you dig in. All right, and I'm planning on digging in right now. So just a fair warning in case if you don't really want to know anything that, I mean, like, it's not like I know. I'm pure speculation here, and it's just wild theorizing and stuff like that. It's just going to be for fun. But in case you just don't really want to mess with that stuff, I understand if you want to click away. But let's go ahead and take a look at the image now. So there we go. There's the official art that will be on the collector's edition of Final Fantasy XVI. Now, at first glance, we see illustrations of the 9 icons. We see Phoenix, we see Shiva, Rama, Leviathan, Titan, Garuda, Odin, Bahamut, and not quite Ifrit. Am I right? Not quite Ifrit, and that's where things get interesting. Ifrit appears to have wings, among other features that does not align with what we've seen of him so far. I have a theory that what we are seeing here is chaos, and I have to say it like Jack every time. Ifrit is the catalyst of chaos, and Clive's fate, written in fire, is to be the savior that will herald the hand of God incarnate to remake the world using a host of heavenly servants, or something along those lines, as that is what is deciphered in the book. So is chaos the hand of God incarnate? This excerpt is also under the title Ethereal Burdens and talks about the savior myths of Valisthea. I also speculate about the potential inspirations of Hinduism in another video where the world is remade in a cyclic nature. I recommend checking that video out for more on that, but this art is showing me that Ifrit, or whoever is in the center here, is the master of the 8 icons, just as the book says. His first appearance is said to have driven the icons mad. Some dominants no longer seem to have control over them, possibly represented by the color of their eyes. The art shows the icons facing the one in the middle, Phoenix, towards him. Shiva's eye line, boom. Ramu facing him. Garuda facing him. Odin. Bahamut even craning the neck to look at him. Except, suspiciously, Titan, who seems to be charging towards the camera, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. The heavenly servants will flock towards their master. Now, let's talk about Titan, who seems to be facing towards us. A reminder that we see that an unknown icon, presumably towering over a mountain that houses the Dhalmekian Mother Crystal. I believe this is Titan transcending into something far greater. I'm using the word transcending as the hard mode for Final Fantasy XVI, now called Final Fantasy, was called Transcendence before they changed it to Final Fantasy. So I like to use the word transcending into something far greater. And his eyes are red, which means it could possibly be under the control of its true master, the hand of God incarnate, Chaos. This could explain why Titan is charging towards the camera and everybody else is facing away from it. Now, one thing to note also, Shiva is kind of facing back towards Chaos. I'm gonna keep calling it Chaos for now. Back towards Chaos, but the head is tilted to look at Chaos. That's interesting to me, as I believe art is telling a story. I always believe the artist is telling a story. Now, I mean, it also could just look cool, and that's fine too. But I think the back facing towards Chaos could represent Jill and maybe even Shiva, as she maybe like regains control over Shiva. Kind of a resistance to the ordained fate. And then Garuda, who seems to be falling backwards, like almost as if stumbling and falling backwards and facing Chaos, could represent her like uncertain alliances, and basically just kind of Benedicta in general seems to be kind of unsure of things. That's the vibe I get, at least. Now, that's the Chaos theory. Now, it is really difficult to tell what exactly all this means, but I'd like to point out that if this is Ifrit, or Chaos in the middle, he appears to be an amalgamation of all the icons. He now has the draconic wings of Bahamut right here, and they look just like the wings of Bahamut, right? He has the draconic wings of Bahamut. He also has the seraph-like wings of Garuda. There. Now, we can also look at the build of the body, which very much resembles Titan. But I think we're going to look at something more than just outside appearances. If this is an amalgamation of all 8 icons, it could also be using Phoenix's gift of rebirth. Some other interesting details are that this looks like it's taking place above the continents of Valisthea, as behind them, I mean, to me, it looks like a world map. You got all these, it just looks like land masses. It could be just like an effect coming off of there, but it looks like a world map behind them. Like, see, this looks like a topographic land of a map. I don't know. Just kind of getting that vibe of a world map behind them, which means this could be taking place in the sky, and we've already seen previous artwork of Jill and Clive in what appears to be a sky civilization. And we know that the Fallen, that's the name now, are what the people call the Forebearers, the ancient sky civilization that fell 1500 years ago. So I think it's safe to assume we are going to the sky in Final Fantasy XVI. Another observation, I think that these creatures here, we got this one right here, this creature right there, looks like, it just looks like a, I don't know, like a worm or like a giant serpent. Maybe like a giant serpent. If it's back on the world map, which I'm presuming, if it's on the world map, they're very large serpents. And this one right here too. Looks like it's almost weaving in and out of the land. It looks like a giant world serpent, if you will. And then you can kind of see some more like this right here. This one right there looks like another one. Or it just could be whatever this darkness is emitting from the icon in the middle. And it could just be some squiggly lines, you know what I mean? Like it, but they look like they have faces, especially this one right there. Just kind of looks like it has a face. All right. So, it could be my eyes playing tricks on me, but another detail that I noticed, it seems as if Ifrit or Chaos, or whatever we're calling it here, has its feet dipped inside some sort of ethereal portal, I guess. I want to call it an ethereal portal. Ether being the magic that the crystals are rich with, or I guess were rich with until recently they started dying out. Anyways, this could be a portal where maybe chaos is emerging from. Another note is it seems like the aura above its head looks like a halo, fitting the description of a hand of God incarnate, right? And also worth noting that the icons in the mural art from the Ambition trailer also have halos above their heads, being the heavenly servants. So anyways, I also want to point out this right here, above the halo, or Final Fantasy XIV MSQ Meteor. So above that, looks like a clock. That's the best I could get out of it. It looks like it could be a clock. But I mean, maybe like a Doomsday Clock, if there is this countdown to the world to be remade. So it has to be destroyed before it's remade. So maybe it's a Doomsday Clock. It could also be that whirlpool that's on the world map, south of the Crystalline Dominion. So that's an option as well. Maybe that whirlpool cracked, and now there's void scent coming out of it. Final Fantasy XIV fans know what I'm talking about. More on that in just a second. So why do I think this icon is chaos if it's supposed to be heavenly? But that's kind of a cool twist, right? Not unlike Final Fantasy to have the gods of their worlds be the true enemies. And if the world is to be remade, it would need chaos to destroy it, so the world would need the elements of the other icons, such as their wisdom, strength, and beauty. And it's for its rebirth. You know what I'm saying? So perhaps Clive and the other dominants are going to band together and fight against this fate, and hopefully succeed where others have fallen. You see, if you see what I did there, as the ancient sky civilization had fallen, that's what they're called, 1500 years ago, and Valisthea has been paying for it ever since. So maybe they challenged the god and lost, and now Valisthea is paying for it. Now, I keep plugging my videos on this one, but I also consider watching the Paradise Lost video for the idea that maybe the icons are comparable to the fallen angels of that epic poem. Ifrit, in particular, could be similar to Satan, who rebelled against God, lost, and decided to forever spite God by plaguing the weak-minded, susceptible humans with sin. There's more to it, and admittedly, these are undeveloped theories, but Final fans Rodolfo, Fane, and Papa Fritas suggest that in the middle, this icon is Diabolos. That's fair, which is another name for Satan. So if that theory has some validity, then Diabolos is a great guess. Not only that, but its appearance resembles the look of Diabolos from Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, and Heavensward. Diabolos in Heavensward even gains a second set of wings when becoming Diabolos Hollow, which again is very similar to what we see in this art. And guess what? The main scenario writer, Kazutoya Mahiro, is the same for Final Fantasy XVI, and Heavensward being the last story he worked on. So Diabolos was fresh on the mind when starting Final Fantasy XVI. Oh, and Final Fantasy XIV, Diabolos is a void scent. So when I talk about his feet in this art dipping into some sort of void, it could be a void, you know what I mean? That ethereal portal could be a void. And it also has a kind of a similar look to what we see in Final Fantasy XIV when the void happens. Looks like a disruption of ether to me. But to support the idea that this is Diabolos even further, Diabolos is summoned in Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy VIII and uses the spell Dark Messenger, which happens to be the name of Trance, Kuja's battle theme, which doesn't have anything to do with this, but I thought it was interesting. I mean, if I really wanted to dig in deeper, I guess I can say that at the end of this video, as it is major spoilers, but we'll come back to it. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on this beautiful Amano art in the comments. Equip a subscription and the bell of timely notifications. I'm going to use that in every video now. I love that. The bell of timely notifications. Take care now. Bye-bye. Kuja is the angel of death, meant to spread chaos to steal the souls of Gaia so that the world of Terra can be reborn. It's another destruction and rebirth type thing that seems to be a theme, or at least I'm making it a theme in Final Fantasy XVI. And Kuja has the look of Diabolos when he's in his trance form, which is that red, and of course could be a nod to why his battle theme is the signature ability of Diabolos. Also in Final Fantasy V, which was the foundation of the 16's battle system, and Final Fantasy XVI scenario writer Kazutoya Mihiro literally saying, quote, "Let's make Final Fantasy V an action game," end quote, also features a whirlpool and something called the Void.